Picture, if you will, a world where the lines between entertainment and the occult blur, where those melodies and imagery we all thought harmless served as conduits for darker forces, in a realm where the pursuit of fame intertwines with ancient rituals, as the stage becomes a portal to the unknown, or perhaps the all too well known. Time to draw back the curtain here on things visible and invisible. Bill, the last time we spoke, you gave a very interesting, a very thought-provoking beginning, I guess, of your ideas around the demonic and its influence upon popular culture. You were even very specific about when this process began. And you talked about the late 50s and the breakdown in the family, the emergence of rock and roll and other popular culture. And you also talked about the way in which it was using vibrations and various other things, which was very, very interesting. I'd like to move us into the 1960s and into the 1970s and beyond and try to bring it up to date. So maybe if you could just point to one reference in the late 60s that you would suggest sort of sums up or is a very good example of your hypothesis of what went wrong.
Well, I could point out to many, but I'll try and be as brief as I can. I think that it, began to escalate when the Beatles came along. And the Beatles came along as these lovable mop tops that, they were phenomena. And there was a machine behind them. Again, our alphabet agencies like CIA and agencies like that in America, and Tavistock over in your neck of the woods, they were behind all of this. This was social engineering on steroids, in my opinion. And so they market the Beatles as these lovable mop tops, and they come out with the songs of I Want to Hold Your Hand and stuff like that, seemingly innocent type of songs on the surface. What people don't realize is, allegedly, they were involved in a lot of occult activity. They were also involved in, from what I've researched, mind control, MK Ultra type of programs. And they're not the only ones, believe me. So these are fabrications in the sense and creations that would have this type of, you want to talk about influencers, they're the original influencers, okay? Elvis also was into the occult. Madame Blavatsky, you can do some research into that. It's all true. But the Beatles were the next step. So Elvis was a phenomenon himself, but the Beatles sort of took it a step further, if you will. And so they start out with the seemingly innocent songs on the surface. And then all of a sudden, and by the way, also they bring in the Rolling Stones not long after. They're perceived as the bad boys, the dark ones who had the more overtly open satanic songs. But something shifted, I would say probably somewhere around 1966, and perhaps even the year before. The Beatles, all of a sudden, and I don't believe this was organic. I don't believe that suddenly Lennon and McCartney had these ideas about, hey, let's take our music this way. And furthermore, there's rumors that the real Paul McCartney died in a car crash in '66, and then there was a replacement. That's a whole other show in itself. But be that as it may, they suddenly changed their persona. So by 1966 and then into '67, with the release of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club album, these were characters now that, they grew their hair out. They were using drugs. They were probably using drugs the whole time, but now they were making it open to the public, their drug use. Their song content had changed from, She Loves You, yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand, all that kind of stuff, into some darker, drug fueled messages in their songs, and violence as well. Songs like Helter Skelter, which Charles Manson, took that as an anthem for the things that he did and got other people to do for him. And so this completely shifted into a much darker thing now. And the Rolling Stones continued being who they were. I mean, their song Sympathy for the Devil was the anthem for the Church of Satan, which opened in 1966 on California Street in San Francisco. Charles Manson started his reign of terror in San Francisco, and then moved to Los Angeles and those areas. But this is all interconnected. It is all part of clandestine operations, in my opinion, that has led to the downfall of society in the West, America, and the whole most of the Western Hemisphere, I'm sorry to say. But it is through music and these types of ideas and ideals, and of course, alcohol and drugs, that are a part of this to lower the frequency and vibration. So I can tell you this firsthand as a musician. When these songs came out, and even the current batch, which I don't listen to any current junk or music or movies or anything, but anyway, there are suggestive messages in the music and in the lyrics as well. Have you ever, Sean, listened to a song and then that song would not leave your head? It just kept over and over and over and over. No matter what you did, you just couldn't get that song out of your head.
Absolutely.
This is part of a hypnotic suggestion that takes place. And so our brain and our mind is taking in things, even if we don't want to take it in. We're taking it in. And through these types of songs, which I believe I would call them enchantments, when you take them in, it just will not leave. It's part of a hypnosis and a hypnotic suggestion that your mind and brain has taken in. And it is a struggle to get that music out. So this is all by design. And it is all designed to lower the frequency and vibration of the people and to put them in a bad way. I'll give you another example. So if we, right now, Sean, if you put on a beautiful piece of music, a divine piece of music, we would feel at peace. We would feel like we were lifted up. We would feel very good. We would feel very calm. But if you switch that and suddenly put on something, let's say anything from the Beatles to Rolling Stones to Motorhead or whatever it may be, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, any of those things, now we're going to be disturbed because it's creating aggression. And it's like, so now there's a disturbance taking place inside that fuels rebellion and aggression. And in today's world, with this rap, hip-hop junk, which has replaced, not completely, but replaced the engineered rock music of, the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then 80s. It is all themed. If we were to break that down, the majority of that content is themed on evil and negativity, harming others, excessive use of alcohol and drugs, doing anything for money. So you would be hard-pressed to find anything positive in any of that type of content, and it's all by design.
Tell me this, Bill, because you're now a minister. You a deliverance ministry. The people who come to you, seeking your advice, seeking your help, have some of them been harmed by this kind of exposure to these kind of popular cultural influences?
Absolutely, they have. And here's another example. Back in the 70s, you had movies such as The Exorcist, which came out in 1973. That was a very disturbing movie, and people went there and took that in, and then were panicked and put into a state of fear to the point to where, when they went home, they were looking for something to happen. Is something there? Is this going to happen? So that's not good. And Rosemary's Baby, that was another terrible film that took place at the Dakota Hotel in New York. There's a lot of occult history there at that hotel. That's where John Lennon was assassinated. Many things took place. I've been to that place personally 2 times in my life. And let me tell you, it's a very evil place, to say the least. But you had these types of movies. Let's see what else. Amityville Horror, I think that came out in 77, I want to say. Then you had the Son of Sam thing in New York, which there's a lot more to that story. And I've been to that Untermeyer Park where this cult, they held satanic rituals and ceremonies in this park, and also rumored that it was satanic human and animal sacrifices taking place in that park as well. I've been there on 2 occasions, and that's one of the more evil places I've ever been to in my life. And so this stuff is very real, and it is all designed to get the person in the fear-based, trauma-based way of thinking and living. And once that takes place, then you absolutely have them under control. Here's another example in the business world. There are men in the business world that have, and probably still do to this day, if they want to gain an advantage over someone, they will put a chair in front of their desk, and when the target comes in, the one that they want to gain the advantage over, they'll sit down in the chair, and one of the legs is a little shorter than the other 3. And that's by design. That's to keep and put the person and keep him off balance. And when we're off balance, we can be controlled. And so this applies to so many different things, Sean. And this is why it's so very important, in my opinion, to have a real authentic relationship with God, the creator of the universe. We'll never be perfect, none of us. I could write a lengthy book about the mistakes I've made in life, but I'm real and I'm authentic, and my faith is real and authentic, and I can't do anything. I'm not a superman or superhuman, but I will tell you this, God has worked through me countless times doing extraordinary things for people from all over the world. I'm thankful for that, but it's all about being real and authentic. And if you have that level of authenticity with God, he will give you holy discernment to know who is real, who is not, what is real, what is not, who is true, who is not. And we want to know this. We should always want to know this. So I'm thankful that he has blessed me with wisdom and knowledge far beyond anything that I could ever imagine in my life. And to this very day, I'm almost 60 years old, I still thirst for knowledge. So in my home, I have about 550 books, and I've read most of them.
Wonderful. Bill, just going back to the demonic and the popular culture idea, I mean, the cultures we've discussed, I mean, were very homogeneous in the 50s and 60s, I mean, people watched television and everybody watched television or listened to the same sort of music. Today, we live in a very diverse community where people are, consuming all sorts of things, even, on the internet, on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. How do you see your sort of hypothesis working in that sphere? It's in one sense, as it appears, superficially at least, harder to control mass populations because people are are entertaining themselves with so many varieties. Or do you see it differently?
Most of it is garbage, if you ask me. And so there's an old saying here, Sean. United we stand, divided we're conquered. And so that's what's going on currently in our world, especially America. It's divide and conquer tactics. So if you have each going his own way and this, and I want to go this way, but yet seemingly on the surface, they're going their own way and doing this and doing that, but they're really put into a little box. And when people are put into such a box, all through division, they can't see the truth outside of their little box. So they want to be in their own little box, in their own little world, and they don't care. So this is why we have atrocities taking place, around the world, and especially in America, to where if people are getting physically attacked, or you see the news stories just like everybody else, it's horrible what's going on. And most people, they won't take action to help anybody. They'll pick their phone up and maybe film it. That's it. We just had the young lady on the subway train in North Carolina that did nothing to no one, said nothing to no one. She was minding her own business, and this demon-filled individual behind her stands up and then suddenly stabs her several times. And you know the story. It's become a worldwide story. And this is what's taking place in some instances in our culture now. And people are desensitized to these types of things, so they won't do anything to help. And they could just go on about their day and not give a second thought. Meanwhile, someone has lost their life and due to horrible and tragic circumstances and situations. So it's all part of the plan, Sean. It's really working again to perfection, in my opinion, to where now this is perhaps the last phase of the plan, is to have the people to be so desensitized that they're open for anything and everything to happen, and they won't skip a beat.
So how does that play out in the future? How do you see the coming years, Bill?
Not good. And here's what's going to happen, in my opinion. Either God himself is going to have enough of this, and he's done it before with other civilizations, when there is a point, and he loves us. He doesn't want to bring destruction to us. But when the society continues to rebel and they continue to spiral out of control like it is now, then he's going to move. And if he moves, then there's going to be utter destruction. And I don't wish that on anybody. But he's done it before in other societies and civilizations. And if we continue on this path, I do believe it's going to happen again. Or the flip side of that is, I pray that he would raise someone up to be someone that he could work through, that the entire world would see as a person that God has brought forth to restore order to the world and to live under the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. Could you imagine, Sean, if we just said, okay, starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, the whole world is going to be of one collective thought and one motivation. And that objective would be to treat others how you wish to be treated. Could you imagine? The whole world would change instantaneously because people would care. People would want to do good for each other. People would want to lift each other up. To do good is to be good, and to be good is to do good. And if people could take on that type of thought process and that type of mentality and to strive for that, the whole world would change overnight.
However, Bill, I'm sure you're very familiar with the Book of Revelation and a different scenario playing out. Reading that, it doesn't appear that what you've just suggested will come to pass initially anyway. How far into the end times do you think we are?
I think we're pretty close. And look, I wouldn't dare give you a date because that would make me a charlatan. And there's plenty of charlatans out there. We just had it. Was it last week or the week before? Where this collection, and they're doing this, Sean, because they want views, they want hits, they want clicks, because a lot of these people are monetized on the social media stuff, so they're getting paid for the clicks. And they came up with, the rapture is going to be, I think this was last Tuesday or the week before, and a nuclear bomb is going to hit America too on the same day, and there's going to be, well, Tuesday came and Tuesday went, and nothing happened. And on my little program, Warrior Mode, I tell these people every week, be careful who you listen to, be careful who you follow, be careful who you emotionally invest in, because there are many deceivers out there. And so they'll tell you anything and everything. There are people out there that made a career of coming up with these phony dates that, it's going to end on this day and the rapture is going to be on this day. It never happens. And so I say to people, if someone makes such a forecast and it doesn't pan out to be true, then how could you ever believe anything that person would ever have to say again? I know I wouldn't. And so I always tell people, stay under Psalm 146:3. Don't put your trust in men. There's only one to put your trust in, and he'll give you the holy discernment to know these things. But for me to sit here and say, oh, it's going to be this, I would never say that, but I will say this. Through the feeling in my spirit and through seeing what's going on in the world, I can't imagine that this would be able to go on for much longer without God finally saying enough and then look out. And this is why we want to be right with God, and we want to make him first and keep him first. In the event of this taking place, he will keep a covering over us. And whether that means he lifts us up and out of here, or he just keeps us covered like Daniel in the lion's den and the men in the fiery furnace, whatever the case may be, that's what we want, because we don't want to be on the other side of this when this all comes down.
Absolutely not. Well, we may not know the time and the day, Bill, but we know that this episode is now drawing to a close. So this is our end time together. Tell people where they can find out more about you and your work, and maybe also where they can find out more about your media work. I know you've got podcasts and various other channels that you're involved in.
Well, I want to thank you again for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have spent time with you. And thank all of you out there for tuning in. And if you're in spiritual need, you feel like you're under spiritual attack, you could contact me at BillJBean.com. Or if you want to get copies of my books, there's a link on there to where you could get copies of my books. And I have a little podcast. It's more a church service, I would say. Every Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. It's called Warrior Mode. It's on YouTube. So if you go to my website, BillJBean.com, there are links on there for the Warrior Mode broadcast. So if you want to hear me talk about more of these types of topics, you'll hear it every week. And we have a lengthy prayer list of over 800 people and growing. And I say every name, no matter how long it takes me, every week. So if you're in need of prayer, you can contact me and we'll add you to the list as well.
Bill, for now, thank you so much for coming on Things Visible and Invisible.
Thank you, Sean. Many blessings.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Things Visible and Invisible. We're dedicated to uncovering phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality, from ancient enigmas and paranormal encounters to scientific anomalies and forgotten histories. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysterious and unexplained, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell to stay updated on future explorations. Have a personal experience or story that aligns with our investigations? We'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at tvi.show and reach out through our contact form. While we can't feature every submission, we review them all, and your story might be featured in an upcoming episode. To support our continued investigations, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter or channel member. Your contributions make these explorations possible and give you access to exclusive content, early releases, and monthly behind-the-scenes discussions with our team. Don't forget to check out our merch store. We've got everything from TVI branded t-shirts and hoodies to stickers and coffee mugs, perfect for showing your support while keeping the mysteries close. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time as we continue to explore the things visible and invisible.